To give you guys an idea of how high those floodwaters were in 1921, just across the street from us on the right-hand side, there is a big green clock, the Hertzberg's clock, coming up here right on the corner. There it is right there, you guys. That clock's well over 100 years old, but that flood in 1921 went clear to the top of that clock. That is a lot of water, you guys. Does anybody know what time it was when the water reached the top of that clock? It was time to get a new clock, of course. In the 1700s, a group of settlers came here from the Canary Islands, and in 1731 they built a small church with a little domed roof. In 1870, that little dome roof collapsed, and when they rebuilt it, they built it into a cathedral, making the San Fernando Cathedral the second oldest cathedral in the United States. That little dome church is also the church used by General Santa Anna and the Mexican Army as their headquarters during the Battle of the Alamo in 1836. That's the church that they raised that little red flag above, that the defenders of the Alamo fired that cannon at. You guys are probably wondering where that cathedral is. Well, it's one block behind us. They got all that construction on Commerce Street. We can't get our bus by there. And of course, stop number 12 is closed. That cathedral. Oh, tonight on the front of the cathedral, there will be a light show. It's called the Saga. It's going to show you the history of Texas right on the front of the cathedral. It's pretty darn cool. That starts at 9 p.m. They show that every Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Tuesday night. You can make it down to the cathedral, or somewhere around 9. They show it 3 or 4 times, though. So as long as you guys make it down there after dark, you'll probably get to see it. Pretty darn cool. This detour also bypasses the Spanish Governor's Palace, built in 1722. It's a little museum now. I think it only costs about $5 for an adult to go in there and have a look around. If you want to visit the Spanish Governor's Palace or the cathedral, you guys could walk back from stop number 13 if you wanted to. It's 2 blocks back to the Spanish Governor's Palace and 3 blocks back to the San Fernando Cathedral. And after we cross this intersection here in front of us, this is the San Pedro Creek we're about to cross. This is a little river that ran through San Antonio. Of course, it joins the San Antonio River just south of downtown. And for the longest time, it was a concrete ditch here in San Antonio. They're turning it into a beautiful park, you guys. If y'all look to the right, you'll be able to see the completed section of that park. And of course, to the left is some of the park they're still working on. They've got probably a dozen more sections of the San Pedro Creek to fix up. It's going to be really nice when it's done, though. Our next stop coming up here is going to be for, what is it? Oh yeah, it's Market Square, you guys. Market Square, stop number 13. It's the oldest Mexican market north of the Rio Grande, built on land given to the people by the King of Spain way back in the 1700s. It's an open-air market now. It's got a couple restaurants in there as well, Mi Tiara and La Margarita. They're both really good and they're both really fun. And if I was looking for a party here in San Antonio, Market Square is the first place I would check. It's probably going to be pretty quiet though at 9:30 on a Friday morning. On the weekends, they usually have a little mechanical bowl out here. That looks really fun. You'll see some other artists set up selling dresses, jewelry, all kinds of interesting stuff. It's going to be Market Square coming up here in just a minute. Top 13 is coming up here in just a second. Just to the right of us here, that's Milam Park. There's a statue of Mr. Milam in that park. There's also the bones of Mr. Milam buried in that park. It used to be a cemetery. I guess it technically still is a cemetery if Mr. Milam's still there, right? And here we are, stop number 13 for Market Square. The oldest Mexican market north of the Rio Grande. It's even quieter than I thought it would be. Don't worry guys, later on today, the vendors will have their stuff pulled out. There'll be something going on here. 9:05 at Market Square. I'm glad y'all are staying on my bus though, because my best jokes are on the second half of the tour. I know what y'all are thinking. You guys are thinking my entire tour is a joke, and to that I say, thank you very much. Just to the left of us there's a mural, those lions in the grass. That mural there was painted by an artist named Jesse Trevino. What's interesting about Jesse, you ask? Well, Jesse was an artist before he got called up to the Vietnam War. In Vietnam, he lost his right arm, but he still wanted to be an artist. So when he came back from Vietnam. He took some lessons to learn how to paint with his left hand. That mural is made up of individual tiles, kind of like you'd use in your kitchen or bathroom, I suppose. Jesse painted those tiles himself, of course, but then he got some of his friends to help him put them up. When you guys make it back to Market Square a little bit later, and if you're not planning on going back, I think you should give it another shot. Anyway, when y'all make it back to Market Square, take a closer look at that mural. See if you can see Jesse in there. You should be able to see some of his friends as well. Our next stop coming up here is going to serve 7 hotels all along Cesar Chavez Boulevard. There's also a little grocery store. It's the H-E-B South Flores Market. H-E-B is our Texas grocery store chain, and we are quite fond of them here. They do a lot of good in the community. They donate the Christmas tree that goes in Travis Park each year. And at Thanksgiving time, they would rent out the convention center and have a huge free Thanksgiving dinner that anyone and everyone was invited to. You'd even get free bus service to that Thanksgiving dinner. Of course, this last Thanksgiving, they didn't rent out the convention center. Instead, they just donated 11,000 meals to needy families. I know that arrow's pointing to the right there, but it's because it's broken. It used to point to the left. Last time I saw it, it was pointing to the left. So, anyway, stop 14 coming up here again serves 7 hotels all along Cesar Chavez Boulevard. One's the Courtyard Marriott by Marriott. The others, well, one of the others is La Quinta. I don't know the rest because they're not right here in front of me. But if you think you might be staying here, but you're not sure, come and see me. We'll figure it out. This is stop number 14. The grocery store is just in front of us there across the street. The H-E-B South Flores Market. They got a little pizza shop in there if y'all get hungry later on this afternoon. And coming up on the left behind the H-E-B South Flores Market here, there's some old buildings, and that's because this is the old Armory compound. That old house there just to the left of us with the slide on the side of it, that is the old commander's house. It was built in 1950, or no, not 1956. That's not very long ago. 1856, you guys. That's a little better. It was built in 1856. This served as an armory during World War I and World War II. It's now the corporate headquarters of H-E-B. They got this land when they made a deal with the city to build that little grocery store. The city actually asked them to build a grocery store here in downtown because we don't have one. Didn't have one. They came up with, I'm sure they gave them a good deal here on the land. And they have fixed up the old Armory compound here quite nicely. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, it was mostly German immigrants that began building houses in the neighborhood here, soon to be straight in front of us. There we go, now it's straight in front of us. They called the main road through their neighborhood King William Boulevard. It was named after King Wilhelm, who was the King of Prussia in the 1800s. You guys know what else I know about King William? Nothing at all. Don't know much about Prussia either. What I do know, though, is that some of those German immigrants did quite well for themselves and built some beautiful homes right on the San Antonio River. They won't let us drive our bus down King William Boulevard, though, so we're going to turn here, keep the King William neighborhood on our left as we slowly make a circle around. We will get to see a few of those nicer homes in a little bit, but to truly appreciate them, take a stroll down King William Boulevard or rent one of these bicycles up here and take a cruise down there. The coolest thing that happened in this neighborhood, you guys, and this is a true story. I saw a fox here one night. It just ran right across the road. I know what y'all are thinking. Y'all are thinking that's an unbelievable story, and if you guys don't believe that, you will never believe what else I saw here. It was a squirrel. One of those German immigrants was Mr. Gunther. This road coming up here in front of us was named after Mr. Gunther. Or maybe Mr. Gunther named the road. You could probably do that back then. But Mr. Gunther started a small flour mill. That flour mill's here to our left. The Pioneer Flour Mill still in operation today. Of course, Mr. Gunther doesn't run it anymore. I'm pretty sure he's no longer with us. His house is still there, though, just on the other side of the flour mill there is Mr. Gunther's house. It's now a restaurant and museum. The Gunther House Restaurant is open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday. And it's famous for a cinnamon roll. What's so great about a cinnamon roll, you ask? Well, the cinnamon roll weighs 3 pounds. It's big enough to share with the entire bus, including the driver. After all, we all know the driver's favorite food is free food. Free food's the driver's favorite food, you guys. That would include cinnamon rolls, whatever else you got. If you guys remember one thing from this tour, remember that. My favorite food's free food. We'll get to see Mr. Gunther's house here in just a second after we leave stop 15. When we get to stop 15, we'll have the Blue Star Arts Complex on our right, the entrance to the Gunther House, a restaurant and museum. It's going to be through the gate on the left. The Blue Star straight in front of us now. It's an old industrial complex. It's been turned into apartments, artist studios. There's a couple restaurants and bars in there as well. We're looking at the back side of it. The front side's right on the river, with the river walk, of course. And this is where all the cool kids in San Antonio live. They all live here at the Blue Star. No, I don't live here, but thank you so much for thinking that I'm a cool kid, you guys. Stop 15 is right up here, right in front of the sushi restaurant. And Gunther House is through that green gate on the left. So stop 15 for Blue Star. We'll see the Gunther House restaurant here in just a second, guys, as we leave stop 15. If you look to the left as we cross this bridge here in front of us, you'll see a big house with a green tile roof. That's going to be Mr. Gunther's house. Built right on the edge of the river. There it is. My goodness, Mr. Gunther did quite well for himself. All that from just a little flour mill. I guess it is true what they say. You really can make a lot of dough if you have enough flour. King William neighborhood still on our left. We're in Southtown now. We call it Southtown because it's south of downtown. I'm not sure who came up with that name or how long it took them, but I think they nailed it. Coming up here on the right, the beautiful old Alamo Methodist Church, founded in 1912. There it is. It's been a while since a congregation has been in there. They have a sign on their door saying they've applied for their liquor license. So I'm kind of excited to see what that's going to turn into. After we turn left here, if you guys look to the left, you'll see a big pink building with a cross on top. That's the old Scholasticus Convent. There it is, built in the 1930s. It's now the Liberty Bar. I think the Liberty Bar will be open this evening around 5. Keep looking to the left, a couple beautiful homes. The first one, the King William Manor, built in 1901. The second one is an older brother, built in 1898. These are some of the more humble homes you'll see in the King William neighborhood. I mean, if you were the poorest person in that neighborhood, you would probably live in that house. This is where you'll find all the good food here in Southtown, too. Casa Frida's just behind us on the right. Coming up on the right in the red building is Hot Joy, an Asian fusion restaurant with a rock and roll vibe. Across the street from Hot Joy's Little M's Oyster Bar, and across the street from Little M's is Tito's Mexican Restaurant. Tito's is a local favorite with top shelf tequila margaritas and recipes from all over Mexico. This is stop 16 right here where this truck is for Southtown. Does anybody know why Tito's keeps their tequila on the top shelf? Well, it's because I can't reach it up there, that's why. It's a smart move on their part. Coming up here on the left is the Friendly Spot. They're open at noon today. They have over 250 different beers. And they have a playland for the kids, because here in San Antonio, if we can't find a babysitter, we just take our kids to the bar with us. After all, somebody's got to drive home. Of course, my wife and I, we're not going to have that problem. We decided we don't want to have any kids. We're going to tell them tonight. Rosario's here to the right, another local favorite. Delicious fajitas, margaritas, of course, and an amazing chocolate flan there at Rosario's. Hard right around this corner, or climb over Rosario's building, you'll find a place called Cinnaholics. That's where you can get your cinnamon roll fix when the Gunther House restaurant is closed. They have delicious cinnamon rolls there. All kinds of different flavors. They were actually on Shark Tank, Cinnaholics was. You can go ask them about it. Pretty cool story. And then coming up here just on the other side of this intersection on the right is a delicious Italian restaurant that is called La Focaccia right there. Our next stop coming up is going to be Yanaguana Gardens. Yanaguana is kind of a funny word, but it means refreshing waters. That's the original name given to the San Antonio River by the Paella Indians. Of course, that's long before the river was discovered by the Spanish. When the Spanish discovered the river, it was St. Anthony's birthday, so they named it after him, and that's why this is the city of San Antonio, and not the city of Yanaguana. Yanaguana Gardens has a great playland for the kids. There's a splash pad over there. I can see the water spraying up. There's also a giant sandbox and a little coffee shop half a block over to the right. Oh, and they have public restrooms here at Yanaguana Gardens. It's going to be the first stop after this light. The second stop after this light, that'll be the stop for the Tower of the Americas. You can see the tower just to the right of us there, that big tall thing. Tower of the Americas was built for the 1968 World's Fair. It's 750 feet tall. That makes it 145 feet taller than the Space Needle in Seattle, Washington. And it was the tallest observation platform in the United States until they built the Stratosphere in Las Vegas in the 1990s. It only takes 950 steps to get to the top of that tower. Lucky for us, though, they won't let us take the stairs. We have to settle for one of the open-face elevators. First, stop 17 for Yanaguana Gardens. Yanaguana, swing on a swing. This would be your stop. Yanaguana, slide down a slide. This would also be your stop. Moving on to the stop for the tower. Let's see, what else do you need to know about the tower, you guys? Oh, well, it opens at noon today. That might be important. Closes at 10 p.m. That's its schedule 7 days a week. Stop for the tower is just on the other side of this next intersection here. To get to the tower, you just follow the red brick road to the right about 3 blocks. Just like the Wizard of Oz, right? Followed the, I guess that was the yellow brick road in the road Wizard of Oz. And it looked like it was more than 3 blocks to the Wizard. But anyway, just stay out of the poppies, you'll be fine. Kitty corner across the street from us on the left there is La Villita. La Villita means the little village. If you guys remember those Canary Islanders that built that small church that's now the San Fernando Cathedral, well, La Villita is where they built their first houses. That was the first neighborhood here in San Antonio. It's also where they filmed part of Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock. This is stop 18 for the Tower of the Americas. Again, the tower is just a 3-block walk to the right there along that red brick road. 905 coming in from the tower. Our next stop's going to be the River Center Mall, the Alamo, our welcome center, of course. But before we get there, I'm going to tell you guys about this big white hotel in front of us on the left-hand side, the Hilton Palacio del Rio Hotel. That hotel was built for the 1968 World's Fair as well. It was built in world record time, though. It took just 202 days to build that hotel is all. They were able to build it so fast because each room was built off-site about 7 miles from here. Brought in on the back of a truck and then stacked up like blocks. When the rooms got here, they had the electrical, the plumbing, the carpet, the furniture, the artwork, even the ashtray was in those rooms. They just lifted them into place, slapped some duct tape on it and called it good. I'm just kidding you guys. I'm sure they didn't use duct tape. They probably used Gorilla Tape. We all know that's stronger. I've seen the commercials. In the middle of the road there, just in front of us, is the Torch of Friendship, a gift from Mexico. And that just about does it, you guys. The bus in front of us will be the next bus to leave. The Alamo is just half a block up on the right. Our welcome center is right across the street if you guys need to upgrade your tickets to get riverboats or anything like that. You can get to the riverboats through the River Center Mall there as well. And thanks for riding with me, you guys. I really enjoyed showing y'all around San Antonio. If you guys enjoyed my tour, please rate me on TripAdvisor. Be sure to mention me by name. My name is Nicholas. If you didn't enjoy my tour for whatever reason, well, then I was never given a name. Thanks for visiting us here again in San Antonio. We missed you guys. We're glad you're back. Take your time coming down the stairs.